Hi guys, so currently I'm at one of my client site where we have few petroleum analyzer company instruments. So right now as you can see that there are two instruments which are named OptiDist. Prior to this video I have actually calibrated these both instrument, and in one of the instrument that you can see in the left side we have actually a sample running there, right? So you can see there is a flask. uh, just let me move a bit there. So in that flask, yeah, now it's being appeared, right? So we have that UL kind of liquid there in that flask, right? So there is a heater below that which is heating that petroleum sample, and then further we will see how this analysis of the distillation of this petroleum sample happens in detail. So what are the sensor that I used and what are the further things that we use here. So as you can see we have this distillation flask right in front of us. So this is the distillation flask. The currently where I'm pointing is that PT100 sensor which is used for the temperature measurement of the vapor, and here we have the temperature probe right in the center of the distillation flask. Now here we have that display. So IPP means initial boiling point. So the first drop when it detected after the condensation of the vapor, so it's called the initial boiling point, and the final boiling point is that after fully condensation the 100% volume of this vapor had been recovered back into the cylindrical flask on cooling. So that's called the final boiling point. Now here the white surface that you can see where it's having the cross glitches, so that is actually called the base plate, right? So we need that base plate, we have the heater. So and this base plate as per the sample is changed so that we can provide the control heating to the flask, to the distillation flask that we have. Right now at this angle I'm inclining my cell phone so that you can see how that red portion that you were seeing is basically the heater flame that is being given to this flask, right? So and in the mid above you have this temperature probe, PT100 temperature probe inserted inside at the center of that distillation flask narrative. So if we go down, so this is the lever, right? Now if you press that lever, so that base plate which I can point towards at now, that white base plate will go down, right, when we push down the lever. So currently you can see the reading, the 60% of the volume has been recovered at, and the temperature, vapor temperature that had been observed is 227.9 degree. And here we have this in volume recovered like 5%, 10, 15, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 20 till 95, and then finally AVP, that is final boiling point, where the 100% of means all the sample has been recovered on condensation back into the cylindrical flask. Now here see on condensation this all vapor is gonna be converted back into the droplet, right? Where the sample droplet. So drop by drop as the vapor is being condensed, it's gonna be collected in this cylindrical flask that you can see. And here we have that measurement, that is 100, right? Means this whole cylindrical flask is having that capacity of 100 ml. So you can see that the sensor that I'm now pointing toward is the level sensor, right? Level sensor. So as the level of the petroleum sample will rise, so accordingly this level sensor will also rise, right? So this level sensor detects the level of the sample inside the cylindrical flask. And at the up edge you can see that black clip kind of thing, so that's the uh, first droplet sensor, right? So when the first droplet of that vapor, which was actually converted into that vapor state on heating, is actually regained back on cooling into the drop form, right? So the first drop, when it's get after condensation get drops in the cylindrical flask, so this upper sensor is gonna sense that what's the first droplet when it's gonna be dropped in this cylindrical flask, and what's the corresponding temperature of the vapor for this first drop, right? So that's all that we can see here. Further, I'm going to explain that how this all things work, right? So basically you can see on the screen that we have this flask, distillation flask. In this distillation flask there is a red mark, right? That's actually the heater that I'm pointing currently. That's the heater. Now here we have that temperature probe, and here currently which I'm pointing is actually the condenser compressor. Right now this is the cylindrical flask. So okay, I think that let me zoom out this screen, and correspondingly I will show you the parts of this machine where this diagrammatically it is represented. So you can see here we have, so you can see that there is a red plate where it's written 637 degrees Celsius, right? And in the left side we have the operator, means you can put manually the name and the sample that which is to be tested. You can place in that the place where it's meant to be written, right? Now this is the whole, yeah, here we have this this is the base plate, white one, right? This is the base plate that you can see, and beneath that base plate is the heater whose temperature is 643 degrees Celsius. That is been displayed on the screen. Here what I'm pointing towards is actually the PT100 temperature probe, right? And that has to be placed right at the center of this distillation flask. And you can see that the vapor which is being raised up on being cooled by the atmospheric air, it's gonna be condensed drop by drop. So that's not the drop that is coming out of the PT100 probe, right? It's actually the condensed form of the vapor that is being raised in the flask. And here we can see that the center of the flask where the PT100 node is placed. So the 318.1 degrees Celsius that you have seen right now was the temperature of the vapor. Now you can see that this is the back side, left side of the machine. Inside this whole machine we have the compressor and condenser system as we have in the home for AC cooling, right? And here at this side we have the information about this equipment, that it's the auto distillation. Oh yeah, this part is actually the compressor and condenser part. So the condenser is giving this 58.1 degrees Celsius so that this vapor can be condensed back to the liquid form. And you can see this is a cylindrical flask. So yeah, so 40.1 degrees Celsius is the sensor here, right here, which actually senses the temperature of the drops of the liquid that is being assembled here. And 80.5 is the percentage of the volume of the liquid that has been accumulated inside this cylindrical flask, right? Oh yeah, the sensor that you are seeing right now is actually the level sensor. Now accordingly this level sensor has rised up, right? as the level of the liquid in this cylindrical flask is being raised, so this level sensor will also rise, and you can see the drops of the sample being recovered, right? So hence you can see you can visualize the whole thing. Now there is option after which you can see that what's the status of the reading. So currently 90% has been recovered after condensation, and the temperature of the vapor when the 90% of the liquid was recovered, the temperature of the vapor inside the distillation flask was 333.1 degrees Celsius, and the drop rate of that condensation into the cylindrical flask was 4.4 ml per minute, means in 1 minute it was dropping 4.4 ml, right, in the cylindrical flask. And this 685 degrees Celsius at 90% volume, that is, you can see in the verb it's written heat, so that is the heater temperature which is beneath this base plate, right? Now you can see how it's being right. This is the actual last phase. You can see that very little amount of sample of this petroleum is left here, and it's red hot. The heater, that red hot is actually the heater, because it's being so at high temperature that it's making the look all reddish, right? So now you will see that the whatever the left portion of that sample is, that's all gonna convert into the vapor form, and that whitish things is gonna be formed in the distillation flask. So it's under process. You are gonna see this now. Trying to show you. You can see that whitish is being formed. Whitish vapor is being formed inside the distillation flask. And now the 95% of the sample has been recovered in the cylindrical flask at 349.3 degrees Celsius, and the heater temperature is currently at this position when 95% of liquid has been recovered is 712 degrees Celsius, that you saw on the display right now.